Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to build Cinewhoop FPV drone. This is an HD version, so we are going to use Caddx Vista kit. For stack we are going to use Mamba F405 flight controller and 40 amps ESC. For receiver we are going to use TBS Crossfire Nano RX. The frame will be diaton taken 3-inch. Motors are Mamba Toka motors 700 kV 2004. This is a 6S build, so we are going to use 1700 kV motors. Let's start building. First step, we have to make electronics waterproof because there is a risk of water damage. This is totally optional, but I regularly do this. I'm going to use this silicone conformal coating to waterproof the electronics. So they will give you a brush like this. You have to dip it and slightly you are going to apply like this. Just add and brush on the electronics. Don't brush on the pads right now because you have to solder, so that's why after soldering you can apply the same coating on the pads as well. I'm not going to say this is going to make your electronics 100% waterproof. After applying, you can leave it for 30 minutes to get it to dry. After that, you can solder on this board. Just apply it all over the electronics. You can see clearly. Don't apply on the connectors and switches as well as this USB. Same thing you can do on the back side as well. The same thing I'm going to do for ESC as well. For ESC it is already having electromagnetic shield, so I'm not going to do anything on that. Already ESC is having waterproof coating. I'm just going to add it slightly. Just don't apply inside connectors, you will damage the ESC. Let it dry for 30 minutes. You can use FPV worry free also and Code King as well. I prefer using this. For bottom pad you can apply coating. Anyhow, we are going to solder on the top side, right? So you can do here. Let it dry for 30 minutes. The same thing you can do for the receiver as well, but be careful while doing this, because this is an IPEX connector. If you put silicone inside it, then this receiver is gone. Okay, hold it and apply gently. On the back side as well. Just gently spread it and let it dry for half an hour. Later you can solder it. Next step is adding this XT60 connector to the ESC like this. You can see a positive and negative marking. Add accordingly. Okay, like this. Before that, you have to prep the wire. Okay, just remove the little bit of sleeve and add solder. After that, you can add it here. Okay, apply a little bit of solder to the wires. I'm adding flux right now. Flux helps in good flow of solder. Yes. After prepping, I have soldered the wire to the ESC Make sure you are soldering the wires properly, negative to the negative and positive to the positive. I have done this off camera. I forgot to record the video. Okay, so yes, after soldering the wire, we have to add a capacitor to these two connectors. The capacitor which is having this marking goes to the negative side and another goes to the positive side. First add a little bit of flux to the connectors and add a little bit of solder to the tip. Solder, then it's heating. Okay, take a little bit of solder like this, add it here, like this. Make sure negative goes to the negative point, positive goes to the positive, otherwise the capacitor will explode. More than that, you might burn your ESC. Next step, we are going to solder motor wires for the ESCs. In this step, we are going to add motor wires to the ESCs. Okay. First, what you have to do is you have to prep the motor pads on the ESC. For that, you have to add solders to the motor pads. Okay. First, add a little bit of flux to all the pads. Heat the pads like this. After heating, add a little bit of solder to the tip. And add it to the pad like this. Heat the pads, add the solder like this. Don't put soldering iron on the pad too much. Otherwise solder will flow on the bottom side. Because it is having small holes, from those holes the solder will flow towards the bottom of the board. So that's why. Heat the pads, add the solder. That's it, guys. Now let's solder wire one by one. One wire is done. Use tweezers to solder. That's it. You can see the joints like this. Joints are looking good. Let's do the same for the other side. This is how you solder the wires. Let's go to the other side. I'll solder directly to the ESC. Make sure you are not bridging these two connectors. Yes. The last motor. This is done, guys. We have successfully completed soldering motor wires to the ESC. Next step, let's add connectors to the receiver. Okay, so the box size connector pad will be the negative one, the next will be the positive, and receiver and transmitter. Okay, so that's, I have already added flux to this one. Now I'm just adding solder. Also the solder has been added properly. Wire to the connectors, negative is done. The positive, next comes the receiver. Receiver means this wire goes to the receiver pad on the flight controller. This is the transmitter, so this white wire we have to connect to the transmitter pad on the flight controller. Now the receiver is also completed. Next step, I have added heat shrink to the receiver and I have added this to the frame by using 2 zip ties. I have connected the antennas as well. Okay, you can see it here, this black wire. Okay, this is the antenna which is connected to the apex connector on the receiver. Next step, we will be adding flight controller. Okay, and these are the rubber gummies given with the package, so it absorbs the vibration created by the motors. Okay, and along with this tag you will be given this cable. Make sure you are connecting this side of the cable to the flight controller as it is mentioned on the label. Okay, so, and one more important thing, so you can see this arrow mark, right? This has to point towards the nose of the drone, means the drone faces towards this side. Okay, we will be adding this to frame now. Okay, now we can add peripherals to the flight controller like this. Okay, next step, we will prepare video transmitter. Before that, we can go through the manual given with the flight controller stack. So this is how you can connect things to the flight controller. Okay, so for receiver I'm going to use TX1 and TX2, these two pads. Okay, sorry, this one and S bus. Okay, these two pads I can use for TVS Crossfire Nano. Okay, this is the receiver which I am using, so you can refer to this manual and you can add. And this is the buzzer. Okay, this one, these two pads I am going to use along with the ground here. Receiver is done, buzzer is done. Next, the VTX is pending. So VTX for Vista kit we need 9 volts of 9 volts current, so we can make use of this pad here, 9 volt, ground, TX3 and video is nothing but a receiver. Okay, from VTX we are getting the data. Okay, so yeah, we can make use of these three, or else if this video pin didn't work, we can make use of TX3 and RX3 from here. These two pads we can use. Okay, so yes, let's start preparing the VTX. Okay, next step, now we will prepare VTX. Okay, so this is how VTX connectors looks. This one, or it says S bus, right? So we are not going to use S bus because we are using this is for receiver purpose. Okay, means wireless controller receiver, no? So that's why we are not going to use, because we are already using Crossfire, that's why. So this point is this connector is a positive one, where we will be providing power to this VTX, positive, ground, RX and TX. Okay, so let's start soldering this connectors. Add a little bit of solder to the tape. Now you can just add solder to the pads first. Now what I will do is I will add positive cable. Yes. Then comes the negative. Then comes receiver. A little bit of solder to the tip. That's it. Now comes the transmitter connection. That's it. Yes. This is how the connector looks. Okay. I have placed VTX like this and camera like this. Okay. So connectors are coming like this. See, positive, negative, audio, sorry, receiver and transmitter video cable. Okay. So now I'm going to add flux wherever I'm going to connect this cable. This is where I'm going to connect RX and TX. Okay, this is where I'm going to connect positive and negative. Now I'm going to connect positive and negative connector here. So this one is negative. This one is positive. That's it. For TX and RX, we'll prep wire once. So RX from VTX go to TX. And TX go to RX. Sorry. That's it. Now we are going to add buzzer cable. Buzzer pads are this one and this one, and the last one, the ground. Last but the second one. Let me rotate it like this so it will be easy. This is the buzzer positive. Connecting buzzer is a little bit confusing, but just remember what I'm going to say. So positive will be positive, buzzer positive, and the yellow goes to buzzer negative, buzzer minus, and ground is black. Okay, you have to connect like that only. This pad is positive one, so buzzer positive this is, and focus properly. So this is buzzer positive, and this is buzzer negative. This negative, this pad below the negative cable is ground. Ground below pad is also a ground. Okay, so I want to connect this to this pad as well. That's it, guys. This is how you connect the buzzer as well. This is where you're going to connect the buzzer. Okay, next step we are going to connect the receiver. Okay, now let's connect receiver to the flight controller. Apply flux to the pads. This is where I'm going to connect white cable with the TX1 from the VTX. And this will be RX, and 5 volts. This is a 5 volt. Ground is next to that. Let me rotate like this. This is TX. Hold it a little bit longer till it dried. And this is a positive. That's it, guys. Now the complete build video of Cinewhoop is completed. We have connected VTX, we have connected a receiver, we have connected buzzer here. I have ordered buzzer, so it is not yet delivered, so yes, I'm waiting for that. And we have connected ESC through this cable, this connector, and all the motors are connected to ESC and this X360 cable for the capacitor. Thank you, guys, and please do subscribe, like and share with your friends as well. Thank you, guys.